Veritas in tenebris. Lumen ad revelationem.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Obscure Testament. Tonight, I want to tell you about a train that vanished into thin air only to reappear 50 years later, with every passenger still sitting in their seats. Untouched by time, it was June 14th, 1911. The Zanetti company had just unveiled their newest passenger train in Rome, an elegant, gleaming machine of polished steel and velvet interiors. The company invited 100 prominent citizens to board for a special inaugural journey, a short trip through a freshly completed mountain tunnel that connected Rome to a small Italian village. There was excitement in the air that morning. Photographs were taken as passengers waved proudly from open windows. Among them were priests, nobles, and even a few scientists who wanted to witness modern engineering in motion. The whistle blew, the wheels turned, and the Zanetti train began to roll forward into history. It entered the tunnel at exactly 11:45 a.m., and it never came out the other side. Workers stationed at the exit waited, confused. Minutes passed, then hours. When they finally went into the tunnel to search, they found nothing. No wreckage, no tracks out of place. The tunnel was empty, silent, as if the train had evaporated into the dark stone itself. Authorities searched for weeks. Teams combed every possible side passage and cavern. Not a trace of steel or smoke was ever found. Newspapers called it the Italian vanishing train. Families demanded answers, but there were none. Eventually, the tunnel was sealed. The event faded into urban legend, another unsolved mystery of Europe's industrial age. But the story didn't end there. Decades later, strange reports began surfacing around the world. In 1926, a group of villagers in Poltava, Ukraine, claimed to see a train moving silently through fog one night. It emitted no sound, no steam, no clatter of wheels, just a rolling blur of pale light. The villagers watched as it glided over a meadow and vanished into thin air. Witnesses said they saw faces in the windows, pressed against the glass, motionless, as if frozen. At first, people dismissed it as superstition, until in the 1950s, a Soviet railroad worker near Kursk filed an official report describing a phantom train that nearly collided with his own. He said it looked ancient, made of old Italian metalwork and marked with a faded crest, Zanetti. When it passed, his radio went dead, and every clock in the station jumped backward by 5 minutes. The Soviets investigated but never found proof. Still, the legend of the lost Zanetti train grew, now whispered as a ghost story told to new railway workers. They said that if you ever see the Zanetti approaching from the fog, you should turn away, because those who stare too long at its windows sometimes disappear themselves. Then came the event that would cement this mystery forever. In 1961, 50 years after its disappearance, a Mexican railway station master named Fernando Orris claimed something extraordinary. Late one evening, the signal lights at his small station outside Pachuca began flashing on their own. The telegraph machine came alive, tapping out a code no one recognized. Then, through the desert darkness, came the distant sound of a whistle, a long, mournful cry from another time. A train rolled into view, slow and ghostly, yet solid. It bore the mark of Zanetti Company, 1911. The lights inside were dim but warm. The station master, terrified yet curious, approached with his lantern. As it drew closer, he saw passengers seated neatly, their clothes elegant and old-fashioned. Their eyes were open, but empty, glassy, staring straight ahead. None of them moved. The train came to a stop. For a moment, all was silent. Then, the doors creaked open by themselves. A rush of cold air swept through the station, and Fernando said he could smell something faint, like old smoke and lavender perfume. He stepped inside one of the cars. Everything was pristine, untouched by time. The wood was polished, the seats perfectly clean. A glass of champagne still sat on a table beside a newspaper dated June 14th, 1911. But every passenger inside was dead, not decayed, just frozen, as if their bodies had never aged a day. Before the authorities could be called, the train began to move on its own. It rolled forward, slow at first, then faster, until it vanished into the black horizon. No one saw it again. When officials arrived, all they found were the imprints of wheels on the sand, ending abruptly in the middle of the desert. Fernando was found the next morning, sitting on the platform, repeating the same words over and over. "They're still aboard. They never left." To this day, people argue over what the Zanetti train really was. Some say it entered a natural electromagnetic wormhole in the tunnel, trapped between time and space, traveling endlessly in a loop before re-emerging. Others believe it was divine punishment, an entire train full of sinners swallowed by God himself. A few scientists even tried to connect it to the Bermuda Triangle's electromagnetic distortions, suggesting the Earth occasionally opens rifts that swallow entire machines. But the strangest clue came in 1991. A group of archaeologists exploring near the original Italian tunnel site found a piece of aged metal lodged deep in the rock wall. The words Zanetti Company, 1911, were engraved on it. When they tested it, they found traces of radiation not native to Italy, something closer to cosmic exposure. It was as if the metal had been somewhere beyond Earth's magnetic reach. Locals began reporting strange noises again near the sealed tunnel. The hum of steel, the echo of laughter, the faint sound of a train whistle deep underground. Officials dismissed it as shifting rock and airflow. But those who have lived near that mountain for generations still believe the Zanetti train runs its endless course through time itself, appearing briefly every few decades before vanishing once more. If you ever find yourself near an abandoned railway tunnel, and you hear a train whistle from somewhere it shouldn't be, don't look for it. Don't wait on the tracks, because they say the Zanetti passengers are still looking out their windows, waiting for someone to join them in that eternal ride. And if the train stops for you, you might not come back. Thank you for watching Obscure Testament. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying stories from the shadows.